World Bank named Cambodia an Olympian of growth, it paid respect to what Cambodia had achieved over a period of nearly 2 decades. Cambodia has consistently outperformed most other economies in terms of growth for the past 15 years. Situated in the heart of Indochina, in Southeast Asia's dynamic center, Cambodia has turned into one of the world's fastest growing economies.
The economic growth in Cambodia started in 1998 when the Khmer Rouge laid down their arm and fully integrated with the Cambodian government. So since 1998, we have a solid political stability, a solid macroeconomic stability that in turn can create the growth of an average of 9.4% the last decades.
With a GDP of about $16 billion, Cambodia is still a relatively small economy. But it is also highly dynamic, with an open market approach and friendly investment climate. And growth is expected to continue at a rate of 7 to 8% per year.
We're a small country compared to our neighbors, but we have a better investment environment than, I would argue, than either Vietnam or Thailand.
When we entered the WTO in 2004, we pretty much liberalized the economy. And if I look, right, with the minor exception of foreign land ownership that constitutionally we cannot change the constitution, foreigner cannot own land on their own, right? But aside from that, most of the rest of the economy is wide open.
Driven by a desire to turn Cambodia into a high middle-income country by 2030, the government is intending to achieve a greater diversification of industry and to move Cambodia up the value chain.
We want to move our industries from the current states of labor-intensive one to a higher productivity-based, higher value-adds kind of industries and skill-based industry in the next 10 years.
This is likely to strengthen Cambodia's long-term competitiveness. When, by the end of 2015, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, known as ASEAN, will create a single market across the region, Cambodia expects to benefit from its strategic position.
You can see Cambodia sits in the center of Southeast Asia. So the investor can use Cambodia as a platform, a production center to serve the ASEAN with a consumer of 600 million consumers.
As growth and development accelerates across sectors, Cambodia is set to consolidate a strong position, regionally and globally. Cambodia's banking sector reflects the economy's fast growth. By the end of 2014, the sector held total assets of $16.2 billion and total deposits of $9.7 billion, representing a year-on-year increase of 29.6% and 31.5% respectively. Banks lent a total of $10.8 billion to customers in 2014, up 33.7% year-on-year, and profits in the banking sector rose by 30% to $311 million.
The reform efforts that we have been undertaking for the past 10 years have yielded a good result, and now you can see very robust banking sectors here in Cambodia. And of course, we will continue to work on this to strengthen further the financial sector.
The total number of commercial banks in Cambodia has grown rapidly over the past 5 years, attracting many foreign banks, such as ANZ, Standard Chartered and Maybank.
If you look at all the post-war country in the world, Cambodia is probably the only country who has been able to attract so many foreign banks. In fact, we have a total of 35 commercial banks. 30 of those are foreign-owned.
Investors in the sector appreciate the country's macroeconomic stability. Inflation has remained below 5% for the past 13 years, and the riel, Cambodia's currency, maintains a stable exchange rate to the dollar. Investors also appreciate the opportunities offered by a growing middle class, the rise in collateral projects, and the need to finance the reconstruction of the country's infrastructure. Maybank, a regional bank with presence in all 10 ASEAN countries, first came to Cambodia in 1993. By embracing diversity and inclusiveness and providing financial services with a humanizing touch, Maybank has gained a place in the Cambodian community.
Our priorities is to help our customers and our employees to grow, to help our customers to expand their business in Cambodia and beyond, and to accumulate wealth, and helping our employees to acquire knowledge and skill so that they will be able to face the challenges in the banking industry in the region and not just in Cambodia.
From financing clients' first homes to helping small businesses grow and expand across the region, Maybank aspires to continue being a part of Cambodia's development for years to come.
We do not just serve local Cambodian, we also help MNCs and foreign investors who want to invest or expand their business into Cambodia.
Current priorities for Maybank, as for other banks in the market, are the consumer and SME segments. With large parts of the population still without access to financial services and an increasingly dynamic SME sector, banks are seeking to tap into these markets by developing new services and growing the bank network into rural areas. The Foreign Trade Bank of Cambodia, Cambodia's first and foremost local bank, is deeply rooted in this culture and appeals to both local and foreign customers. Established in 1979 as a state-owned subsidiary of the National Bank, FTB was privatized in 2005 with great commercial success.
Over the past 9 years since the privatization, total asset grew tenfold, total deposit tenfold, shareholders' equity almost fivefold, and the number of employees twofold.
FTB has pioneered e-banking and other innovative technologies in Cambodia and is now moving to the e-commerce sector and to mobile banking, targeting a young and forward-looking clientele. Currently the fifth largest bank in Cambodia, FTB is confident about the bank's positioning.
Combining a good knowledge of the market, because we were the first bank to be established here in Cambodia, and ability to deploy new products would make us the bank of choice for any regional or global player who wants to enter Cambodia.
As Cambodia's economy develops further, the demand for more and better financial products will continue to grow. The banking sector will play a key role in Cambodia's future development. Cambodia's economic growth comes with the thirst for energy. Demand for electricity is on the rise and expected to double by 2020. But supply is only recently beginning to meet demand. Investment in power generation is creating new capacities and the transmission network is being extended. The EAC, the sector's regulatory body, now expects electricity supply to be guaranteed throughout the country and at lower costs.
We expect that in 2020, all villages in Cambodia will be electrified. And I think around 60% to 65% of the household in Cambodia should be provided by the source from National Grid.
State-owned EDC, in charge of the national grid and the supply of energy throughout the country, plays a key role.
We're going to play our part from increased supply, reliability and quality supply, to expanding the transmission line networks, sub-transmission line network, distribution networks, plus interventions in area beyond our own distribution control.
Much progress has been made increasing domestic power generation.
The growth has been, to us, quite impressive. Starting from 103 megawatt in the system in 2000. And now we have more than 1,300, almost 1,400 megawatts and rising. To me, this is a huge step forward.
Development of the power sector drives Cambodia's economy with significant impact also on job creation. Cambodia's dynamic building and construction sector profits from better energy supply and is itself a major force for development. Following a period of contraction during the world economic crisis, the sector has returned to full form. For the past 5 years, construction has seen remarkable growth, driven by increasing investment and public sector spending. In 2014 alone, Cambodia's construction sector attracted total investments of $2.5 billion US. More than 550 construction companies, domestic and foreign developers are active in Cambodia.
Any visitor to Phnom Penh today will be amazed at the robustness of what's going on. We have major companies here that are doing big projects, shopping malls. Aeon Mall opened in 2014, but we have Hong Kong Land doing their own mall. We have Japanese, Koreans, others here doing their own malls. Office buildings are going up all over the landscape.
This rapid expansion in the construction sector indicates a substantial boost in investors' confidence in the economy.
It's really quite a dramatic development. now, and in many ways we're catching up with other cities in Southeast Asia.
Firms like the Worldbridge Group, a domestic company involved in some of Cambodia's most pioneering development projects in strategic joint ventures, have seized the opportunity.
Cambodia at this stage is the right destination at the right timing, because having a country which is emerging, having a country which is in a catching up mode is a great opportunity.
Worldbridge Group of companies is involved in developing Cambodia's first free trade zone, as well as the Bridge, a 45-story twin tower project offering residential, commercial and office spaces, symbolic of Cambodia's ambitions.
Cambodia's stability of the country is very good, and the growing of the country is moving very fast. So as a business perception, I feel that this country I can do business.
This sentiment is shared by the Naki Group, a consulting company in the real estate sector.
Cambodia is an attractive investment destination now just because with its current growth rate, the way the economy is growing, the way standard of living has been increasing, it's considered a frontier market where there's ample of opportunity.
Naki Group provides project and property management services, including high-end developments, such as Silvertown Metropolitan, a premium apartment building in central Phnom Penh, and TK Avenue, Phnom Penh's first outdoor mall.
Naki Group's looking to go ahead and combine the local knowledge and understanding of what the real estate market's offering and be able to integrate the international standards that we've experienced from, that we have in our background to find that local success in this growing market.
Demand for real estate is growing. Recent years have seen the licensing of many large and medium-sized construction projects, with a marked rise in the quality of new office units and of high-end residential apartments. Cambodia's first Grade A building, the 39-story Vatanak Capital Tower in central Phnom Penh, opened in 2014. A true landmark development, the Vatanak Tower caters to Cambodia's emerging business and leisure community, with a combination of office spaces, a luxury retail unity, and a world-class hotel.
This development put the Cambodia on the map, basically. And in the real estate industry, suddenly people said, look, that is possible to do in Cambodia. And it's not only consumers, it's then also large architect and consulting firms suddenly becoming interested in the market.
Vatanak Properties, the ambitious developer behind Capital Tower, is determined to pioneer the way real estate is developed in Cambodia.
Our ambition is to set new benchmark for the industry, bringing innovation along with the international standards into this country.
Fuxin Steel Buildings is another local pioneer, supporting the industry with customized construction.
Fuxin is found under the culture of innovation. It established about 4 years ago. We were the first and only pre-engineered building manufacturer in Cambodia.
Fuxin is optimistic that it will stay on top of the game.
For the last 5 years, we understand that we have to upgrade ourselves very rapidly. So we have invested heavily both intellectual and physical infrastructure in our company.
By comparison, ASEAN conglomerate Siam Cement Group, or SCG, is a veteran in the market. A business leader in building materials, chemicals and paper, SCG entered the Cambodian market in 1992 to meet the growing demand for cement imports and other building materials. Since, it has made a deeper commitment to Cambodia.
In 2005, SCG established the first composite cement plant to produce high-quality cement for local market called K-Cement brand. This has contributed to the growth of Cambodia for more than 8 years. The second cement line at Composite Cement will be completed and ready to start operations by mid-2015.
With a 100-year history and a workforce of more than 50,000, SCG has built a reputation as a sustainable business leader with a focus on youth and people development.
We at SCG are proud to contribute of Cambodia's economic growth and raising the country prospect as an investment destination.
Construction and real estate development also profit from growth in tourism and in the hospitality sector. The marked rise in tourism arrivals presses demand for more diverse accommodation of world-class standards, in addition to such classics as the Raffles hotels in Phnom Penh and Siem Reap. Cambodia's tourism sector is in full development. 2 decades of economic and political stability have transformed the country's image abroad, drawing an increasing number of travelers to discover what makes Cambodia so very special.
Cambodia is the new best tourist destination in Asia. Cambodia is one of the cultural and natural tourist destination in the region.
In 2014, 4.5 million tourists visited Cambodia, compared to less than 200,000 visitors 2 decades ago. Tourism has become the country's second largest source of income, contributing 16% to GDP.
Cambodia have a good quality of tourism product provided tourists with a reasonable price.
The challenge for Cambodia is to make this growth benefit the country as a whole. In 2012, the government adopted a framework strategy for the responsible and sustainable development of Cambodian tourism.
Our strategy is how to develop Cambodian tourism in a sustainable manner, contribute to the poverty alleviation and to the climate change.
The vision is to turn Cambodia into a world-class tourist destination that will generate revenues upward of $5 billion per year. To achieve this goal, the government encourages cooperation with the private sector and with development partners.
Tourism is the window and the door to open to other fields of cooperation, to other fields of investment.
Investors such as Nagacorp, now a listed company on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, were early to recognize the country's potential.
From the time our company came to Cambodia, started in 1995, economic progress has been significant.
The company runs Naga World, a luxury casino hotel in the capital Phnom Penh, combining business, leisure and entertainment facilities. Hugely successful, a significant extension to the complex, known as Naga 2, is currently underway.
We currently have 700 hotel rooms. We're going to add another 1,000 rooms, an amphitheater that holds 2,500 people that can be used for conferences and conventions. We're going to add additional gaming facilities. Functionally, we're going to double the existing size of the current Naga.
Nagacorp has also partnered with Basaka Air, a Phnom Penh-based carrier, to provide better flights to Cambodia. And it is planning a private terminal at Phnom Penh to service VIP customers from the region.
The high-end or VIP junket play, as it's known in the industry, is very competitive. So we raised about $150 million to augment our private aviation unit out at the Phnom Penh airport.
Naga World's strong growth and development also has significant local impact.
Our strategy over the next 5 years will also allow for some real local growth. Currently, 2014, we employ about 5,400 people. I think we're probably the largest private sector employee in Cambodia. With Naga City Walk and the addition of Naga 2, by 2018, we expect to have over 10,000 employees.
Employee relations are of major importance for Naga World, in a business where much depends on the quality of customer service.
Some of the things that we've done in recent years in terms of wage increase, focusing on labor relations, all of that has served us well, and it will serve us well, obviously, in the development of our strategies over the next few years.
In 2012, it founded Naga Academy, offering comprehensive apprenticeship-based training for the hospitality sector. 1,000 students have since been trained, finding employment either at Naga World or elsewhere in the sector. As part of its corporate social responsibility program, Naga World also supports local schools, education and sporting activities. And it is the largest private sector donor to the Cambodian Red Cross.
Nagacorp has always maintained as a priority to be a socially responsible company, and very important for us to integrate into not only the business community, but the community and country as a whole.
Nagacorp sees close links between its own strategy and government objectives.
When it comes to the growth of tourism, our success is very much tied to the success of the country in developing this particular sector.
What makes Cambodia a traveler's paradise is the diversity of its tourism offer, from the urban center of Phnom Penh to the historic sites in Siem Reap, Angkor, and the pristine beauty of a tropical coastline. The Angkor region, near modern-day Siem Reap, remains the country's most visited destination. Once the seat of the powerful Khmer Empire, Angkor is today one of the largest recognized World Heritage Sites, covering an area of more than 400 square kilometers.
Angkor is a symbol of Cambodia. Angkor represents the soul of Cambodian people. And you can see first importance of Angkor is symbolized in the national flag. Angkor is very important for Cambodia in as the spiritual and also as the reflecting the high culture of Cambodia from the past.
Other parts of Cambodia are also now being developed, including the Tonle Sap Lake, the Cardamom Mountains, and the country's southern coast.
We're now getting interest in major hotel chains to set up hotels in Sihanoukville and also in Kep and in Rim, other places on the southern coast. The islands are very beautiful and undeveloped. So we're getting this kind of interest right now so that we can develop the seafront much like Thailand and Vietnam and Indonesia and other countries in the region have done.
One of the biggest challenges to further growth is the demand for skilled labor. The government is working towards improving school curricula to match skills with the demands of the market.
By working with all the key stakeholders, NGO, private sector, government official, we will be able to create a new school model that will attract the best and the brightest young Cambodians to work and then to pursue their further training.
The Salabai Hotel and Restaurant School in Siem Reap is an NGO that prepares young Cambodians from disadvantaged backgrounds for a career in the hospitality industry. Working in close partnership with the Heritage Suites Hotel, Salabai trains about 100 young students each year, free of charge. By 2017, this number is planned to rise to 150 students per year. Graduates tend to find employment in the sector within 6 weeks after graduation. Similarly, the Shintamani Foundation operates a school of hospitality in Siem Reap, training underprivileged young Cambodians in all aspects of hotel operations. Supported by the Shintamani Club and Resort, training is free of charge, providing young Cambodians with skills to secure employment in the local industry. In 2013, the Shintamani Foundation expanded its training program by setting up a farming development center, teaching young villagers in the surrounding countryside effective farming techniques. This connects with government objectives of strengthening the country's agricultural sector.
As Cambodia agriculture move up the value-added chain, and farmer should be modernized, require more skill, more knowledge. We need to produce more specialists in agriculture.
In contrast to the more recent development of the tourism sector, agriculture is a traditional pillar of the Cambodian economy. It still employs about 70% of Cambodians, mostly in rural areas, and accounts for roughly 30% of GDP. Cambodia is rich in natural resources. It has one of the most productive freshwater fisheries in the world, and abundant arable land, which is traditionally used for crops such as rice, tapioca, rubber, and tropical fruits. But lack of investment has held back production, processing, and exports. New policies promise change, most notably in Cambodia's growing rice sector.
Rice is grown in Cambodia, but you need more than just farmer-grown rice. You need infrastructure, you need irrigation, you need road access, right? And all these things require budget.
The government prioritizes development of the rice sector to make Cambodia a major rice exporting country and has set an ambitious target of 1 million tons of milled rice for export by the end of 2015.
By setting a high target, we have to think of a way, an innovative way, or any other way that we can improve the efficiency and effectiveness of the rice supply chain so that we can reach that target.
The country has sufficient capacity to establish itself among the top 5 milled rice exporters in the world.
We produce about 10 million tons of paddy, and we have about 2 million tons of milled rice surplus that can be exported. And so far we only export about 400,000 tons of that. So there's still a lot of room for Cambodia to export more.
In 2014, the Cambodia Rice Federation was formed from the sector's main industry bodies to streamline cooperation.
One of the major tasks for the federations is to make sure that we establish a strong platform that allow all the stakeholders, from farmers to millers to exporters, to build trust, to keep that trust along the rice chain.
Already, investment in modern milling systems has raised the quality of rice to international standards. For the 3rd year in a row, Cambodian premium jasmine rice has won the world's Best Rice Award. Cooperation with foreign investors is to bring further modernization.
We want to work with the best cutting-edge technology companies who can provide not just a solution to fix our problem, but also visions of what agriculture or rice sector can be in the future.
There are currently very clear opportunities in Cambodia's rice sector.
In terms of milling capacity, we do have enough. But in terms of other parts of the chain, like make sure the seeds are good seeds, make sure that we have enough drying facility, make sure we have enough warehouse facilities. These are the parts that we're lagging.
More investment is still needed to increase the rice sector's global competitiveness.
The key challenges in Cambodia is infrastructures, which need to be more improved in terms of logistics, capacity building of the farmers, and also the miller of Cambodia to be more updated.
Amru Rice, Cambodia's second largest exporter of rice, was the first company to start international exports of Cambodian rice in 2009. It today operates 3 rice milling plants and invests heavily in the quality of production.
Company, we focus now on building the supply chain. We doing contract farming with this farmer, around 5,000 to 10,000 farmers per year. We will be around 15 to 100,000 ton paddy, which is controlled from our Amru rice specialists, professional to check on growing, using chemical or pesticide.
For Cambodia, the objective is to establish itself as a leading rice-producing nation.
Cambodia now need to collaborate because our competitor is not the guy in the other province, it is the world.
2 decades of strong growth have given Cambodia the position and the confidence to look at playing a much bigger role internationally and regionally in Asia.
I think we are ready. We are ready to integrate with the region. We are ready to integrate with the world. In 2015, the ASEAN Economic Community will be in place. Cambodia is ready.
The government's pragmatism and healthy support for the private sector are crucial factors for the country to move forward.
You cannot create jobs for our people through the government. You got to create jobs through a private sector. And that's why we said we are pro-business government. We believe that the private sector is the engine of our economic growth.
This is a perfect environment for a new generation of entrepreneurs, especially when Cambodia's young workforce is becoming increasingly well-educated.
To me, the future is the young entrepreneur. The young, well-educated Cambodian who have studied abroad, got scholarship, who now come back with some endowment from their family, they start a business.
Cambodia has come a long way, moving away from its difficult past and turning into one of Asia's most dynamic economies. Annual projected growth rates of 7% will ensure the country's continued development.
The fruits of 20 years of hard work are all around us. Everybody that comes here is impressed by what has been accomplished here. And there is a great deal of room for opportunity for industries. So whatever your business is, you ought to come to Cambodia to take a look.